Hey guys, this is Malik Wasim and we are here with Ronnie of Los Angeles Oils and Butters. He's here to talk about his skincare line, which is amazing. I know him personally, he's a good friend of mine, and I'm excited to have him here today to talk about his business.
Buddy, thank you. It's an awesome introduction. So my name is Ronnie. I am the owner and founder of Los Angeles Oils and Butters. It's a emu oil and black seed oil based skin company here in Los Angeles, California. I'm also a licensed esthetician. I've been an esthetician for about 3.5 years. Remember when we first met?
Yeah, I
at an
remember that.
event?
Yeah.
And now all that time has passed and now we're like here.
Right. We both started off doing pop-ups.
Pop-up shops.
Yeah.
Right. So about my business, I started, I guess this was birthed when I was maybe 15 or 16 when I actually spoke it into existence. I remember I was in Inglewood and I was telling some people, they asked me, what do I want to do? I said, I want to own a skincare line. That's the first time I spoke that out. Now let's fast forward all the way to 20, let's just say 13. I was in Long Beach and me and a group of my friends were about to go to the beach and I just happened to have a little thing of shea butter I got from the African store, and I also had a little fragrance that I also picked up as well, and I mixed them together. So I melted it, and we went to the beach, so we were oiling down. They were like, this stuff smells amazing. You should sell it. I was like, no, nobody's gonna buy it, right? They were like, no, I think some people will buy it, right? So we went to the beach, that was the end of that. I kept using this stuff. Now let's fast forward to 2016. I'm working out here in LA at the hospital. This same fragrance I told you about, I happened to wear it to work one day. And my coworker that sat across the aisle from me, she smelled the fragrance. She's like, what kind of, scent or cologne is that? I was like, well, it's not a cologne, it's body butter that I made. She was like, oh, can you bring me some? Her name was Juliet. I'll never forget Juliet ever.
Juliet.
Juliet. So she was like, bring me some. And I bought her some, she gave me $10. She loved it. She started to tell everybody in the office, and
It became a thing.
it became a thing.
What?
It became a thing to the point where I was making more money selling body butter than I was making my actual check.
Wow.
When I was a temp employee, so we were getting paid every week. It was decent money. So that went on for about, I want to say 7 to 8 months. And what actually happened is the same job, they transferred me to a different department. I hated this department. And while I was in training, I hated it even more. And so at the end of training, where I'm out of training and I'm about to go into the phone. So they switched me over to like a call center type situation. Then I'm at the call center. At the end of training, my trainee or trainer, she clocked out to go to lunch. She was like, okay, when we get back from lunch, you're going solo on the phone. So she clocked out, she left the desk, and I stayed there for a second. I said, do you want to do this? I've been at this job now for like 1.5 years. This is just a different department. Overall, I've been there for about 1.5 years, and I said, you don't want to do this. So I clocked out. I unplugged my keyboard. I always took my own keyboard, wrapped it up, put it in my bag, and I drove off.
And you walked out.
I walked out.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't tell nobody.
You didn't come back?
Nothing. They were calling me.
Oh.
Nothing. I had no plan. I literally only had like a little bit of money because I was using that. And I'm so glad it happened like this because working and not having like a side hustle and living in LA,
Yeah. It's like, who does that?
it's super hard to
Yeah.
make it. So I really didn't have a
You gotta have
plan.
5
So,
jobs.
right. You gotta have like 5 jobs.
Yeah.
So I left and I'm like, okay, all right, no income at this point because I'm leaving my client base. My clientele was at the hospital, right?
Okay.
So I didn't tell anybody like on Facebook, but it just so happened maybe 3 days later, somebody on Facebook hit me up and they were like, hey, would you like to do a vending event at the Compton Aeronautical Museum? And I was like, a vending event, like to sell my stuff in public? I was like, okay. So I went, I paid for the table. I actually went and got a little table, a little black, what is that, tablecloth? And I printed some signs on a Word document and put them into like a cardboard box. It literally looked like one of those homeless spots. You gotta start from somewhere.
You gotta start
right?
from somewhere.
I made some body butter. I came up with the coffee scrub at that time and my emu syrup. That's what I had. I went early in the morning, and how it worked out, which is a trip, I got there super early. I was like the third person there. And the coordinator, they didn't really know where to put me at. So they were like, well, just set up right here. It was at like the entrance of the event. So I set up, I was there, and it just so happened where I was set up, that's where the sponsor of the event was supposed to set up. And the sponsor was KJLH.
Okay.
You know, the radio station out here in LA. The other sponsor was Shabazz Restaurant, which is a huge restaurant out here. So when KJLH got there, they were like, well, he's in our spot. No, the coordinator was like, well, we put somebody in your spot on accident. They were going to make me move. And the DJ for KJLH was like, no, just let him stay. So they set up on the side of me, and Shabazz set up on the other side of me. So here I am at the entrance and smack dab in the middle, in between two human buildings. So I was getting all that foot traffic. Boom, 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 boom. I ended up making $1,100 in like 4 hours. So most money I made like by myself as an independent, my first time out the gate.
That's
and like how my products look now, you can maybe put in a clip, look nothing. They were so bootleg. They were so bootleg. But people were still very receptive. I also had black seed oil as well. And and so with that experience and that event, I said to myself after that, I said, I'm gonna make sure that I have work for myself every weekend. So what I did is I started looking for different vending events around the city, searching Instagram, I would search hashtag LA events, and I would just reach out to the coordinators, pay for the tables, I would go set up. Every event wasn't an $1,100 event. Some events would be no dollars. But you got the exposure. Right. And for me, how it worked out, I don't know, well, you do events, and you know, people be like, oh, I'll come back another time, and you know, I'll message you another time. No, people actually were. They were calling me later on to pick up products.
Wow, that's good.
Right.
Yeah, they normally don't do that.
Right, they normally don't do that. They usually just like brush you off, but people were actually calling me back. So for me, just going around to event to event to event, you guys, you have no idea. I had a cart.
Yeah, I remember that.
I still have the cart. It's still at the office. I would load this cart up with tables, banisters, things to hang my banisters, displays, the products, and I would be lugging it. I would either load it up in my car, or if the event was down here in downtown LA, I would walk. I would walk to the event, or I would get on the train and just pull. I would be pulling that cart all over
Determination.
And I would set up and break it down. And I think one of the things for me, like with a lot of the vendors, they noticed, you know, how I never sat down. When I went to my event, you know, some people, they have their tables real
and they
low.
sit behind it. I tell people, do not sit down. Stand up. Because no
You
one's
have
going
to
to
be-
interact with you
right.
while you're sitting behind the table.
Right, you have to be in a position to interact with people. So I always had like a 4-foot table. I never bought any chairs. There's no reason. I would stand up the whole event. And this would be after I've set up, I've sold all day, and now I have to break. It was so much. I am so glad. I'm not saying I'll never do an event again, but I don't know if I'll do it again.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of
I
work.
don't think people knew. And some days, well, some events, there would be like 2-day events. I would do a lot of events with the Delta Sigma Theta. They really came through and supported me, and their events would be like 2 days. Those were hard days of working by myself. Okay? There's not really no bathroom breaks. I mean, the other vendors, they'll watch your table for you, but if you leave and somebody come, you may miss out. Usually at like a 2-day event, it's a conference, so they'll usually come back around to you, but that's not always the case. So it takes dedication. You have to have willpower and that thing of, no, I'm going to succeed. I am going to succeed. I may not get the money, but I am going to make those connections.
Right, and the connections are even more valuable than the money.
They are.
They come back over and over again.
And so a lot of those people that I sold to are still my clients today. So they've seen the transition from my stuff looking raggedy up to more polished as it is today. They've seen me reinvest the money that they've invested to me back into the product to make a
Yes.
better quality product, a better presenting product, and just make it easier for them to buy online, even with my website. So
That's good to know because a lot of, I know a lot of people probably watch you and they're like, how is he doing this? What is he doing? All of that stuff. But you really put the blood, sweat, and tears into it, in the hard work and dedication, and the ability to stay motivated throughout the whole thing, because that's really important. How do you deal with the ups and downs of the business?
the ups and downs of it, well, in life you're gonna have ups and downs. I think it just comes to a mindset: are you gonna quit or are you just gonna keep going? You're just gonna have an effort attitude, like, no, I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm going to make this thing happen one way or the other. I may not have the money to make exactly what I want to happen, but I got a little something to do, something towards that. So for me, I've just always been a determined person. I look at things, I try not to dwell on it for too long, because if you dwell on it for too long, you kind of get stuck. You can get depressed. I have had moments where I was depressed, but at this point where I'm at now, I realize people are relying on me for their skin care, for the care of their skin. So initially, my company is named Los Angeles Oils and Butters, but it's under my corporation, which is R Skin Matters, right? And the R is kind of a play on words, but the R is for Ronnie. Ronnie Skin Matters, right? But it's our skin. Our skin, it matters. So it's kind of play on words. And once you start getting that clientele base and you start hearing the feedback, that's what really motivates me. It's like, man, people are really out here relying on you to be great and to keep pushing. And they literally show you, they will support you in your endeavors because they see what you're doing.
Yeah, true. So what roadblocks in particular have you faced along the way? And how do you, just keep yourself going or balanced along the way with personal life and business life? Because I know things will pop up in both, your personal life, your business life. How do you deal with that?
So personal life, I don't have a personal life. All this, what you see, it looks nice, but this is my whole life. And sometimes it's like, Lord, I want something. I want this, but I also want to have some fun too. Like, I don't have a personal, I don't really get to see my family a lot either. The ups and the downs. I mean, you're gonna have ups and downs in life. I mean, for me, I think I've just kept working. I've kept working. I try to keep those friendship connections going, but it's like when you get to a certain point, it's hard. Because you have to be laser focused, especially when you are dealing with people's money, especially people of color's money. They don't want you to play with them, but they want their orders, in a timely fashion. They want it done right. You know what I'm saying? So it's this is my life. I mean, there are ups, there are downs, but I
just stay laser focused.
Right. Yes.
So the advice to this would be just to not sweat the small stuff. Just stay focused on your vision, stay focused on the goal, and
don't too much sweat the small stuff. Definitely take note of the small stuff. See, because it shows you what needs to be improved, and where you can maybe enhance something that may be lacking. You may not be able to fix it right then and there, but at least take note of it. Because some of the things that you may need to fix, like for me, one of the big things, one of the major challenges I was having for years was my labels, right? So I hand make all of my products, right? We hand pack, we sanitize every jar, everything. We screw on each lid, each dropper, all the sprayers, everything. And so for the jars, just last year, maybe 7 months now, 6 months ago, there was 2 labels that went on the jar, the front and the back, right? And I was printing those labels, and we cut the labels out, and we stick them onto the jars. Mind you, I'm doing thousands of jars. Determination? What? It would take
I even gave up in the middle of that,
Right. And so, the thing about it is, it's funny that you say that. Some of my friends that have come to help me, they're like, oh no, I wouldn't do this. It's too much. And it's literally too much. So it's like, okay, I know it's too much. But I'm still gonna do it because people are whole line.
Right. You have to.
And so it's like with the labels now, okay, I have a soap that goes, you know, so you put in your tubs. And I was using just like a paper label. Initially when it went on, it looked really nice. But when that water and stuff starts to
I
hit
remember
it,
that.
a mess.
Yeah.
It would be looking a mess. But the thing about it is because a lot of the money that I made, the bulk of the money I made, I put it back into the product to make the product as dynamite as it is.
Mhm.
And because it is so effective, people don't care what the labels look like.
Right.
They just want to look
They want
what's
that
inside
product.
the jar. And I would put it in their mind too. What's on the outside is it's important just to know what you're getting, but what's on the inside is what's going to give you the results. So I usually tell people, because I feel like a lot of people with brands, they start backwards. They focus on the product and the presentation and the actual, not the product, but the presentation of the product, not the product.
Right.
So when they give it to the consumer, they have this beautiful package with some product that's
With
bush.
some trash product. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that lessens your return business. Like you may get a good view on Instagram, but are they going to buy it?
Right. Are they going to keep coming back?
Right.
Right.
Are they going to keep it? Because if you notice, just over the last couple of months, that's when I really started to post people doing like openings and showing my product.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I haven't driven my business on any influencer marketing, not really any reposts. I've done some reposts for people when they first get it, but as they start to use it and that label will start looking trash,
Mm-hmm.
I can't use it. And they would be
Right.
saying I would never post it. I couldn't post it.
Exactly.
So to that, I just tell people, you know, focus on the actual product. Make a dynamite product and give it your all, and focus on the presentation later, because it's like if you give a person some crack from what I've heard, I've never done it. I heard it's very addictive. The crack addicts are like, oh, can you wrap a bowl around? They're like, give it to, I don't care if it's in the bag, put it in my hand.
Right.
Put it in my hand so I can get to getting right.
And that's what you got. You got that skin crack.
I got that crack, right.
Okay, well, last question. Any advice you would give to young entrepreneurs who are starting? Doesn't have to be a skincare line, but you can give something specific to a skincare line or just a product in general or just business in general.
Just for business in general, get your paperwork in order. We're in the era now where we're still kind of in the middle of a pandemic, hopefully coming to an end. And what happened is, you know, the government during this time, this is May 2021 when this interview was happening, they were giving out a lot of money to businesses to people and businesses, but the people that really got to benefit from it were the businesses that had their paperwork in order.
Yeah.
So if you are starting a business, if you can get your paperwork in order as far as maybe getting your S Corp established, getting your EIN number, getting insurances in place, get all that stuff in place. It's very, very important for you to take advantage of grants. It protects you from possibly getting sued. Get your business bank accounts in order. Get all of your paperwork in order, in addition to focusing on whatever type of business it is, whether it's an esthetician business, a skincare business, a hair business, a consulting business, whatever it is, make sure your paperwork is in order.
Yes. Well, that was great.
Okay.
Thank you, Ronnie. You're amazing.
Thank you.
You really took this and ran with it. I mean, I didn't have to ask too many questions. You're very informative. I'm sure a lot of people will be able to learn and get a lot from this. So, thank you. This
You're
is
welcome.
such an inspiration.
Yes.
All right.
I'm glad I can be. All right, buddy. Appreciate you.